Welcome back to Faithful to the Traitors. I am Ben. I've been round the round table a few times.
That's a euphemism if I ever heard one.
I've been up the turrets.
Yep.
And I can still say I am faithful.
Well, I'm Alex. I've been on the Castle Green. I've talked to the peacock. Had a few words with Fergus. Met him in the shed. Alan doesn't need to know. And I'm also...
his gloves.
I did. I was the one who damaged his gloves. I'm also a faithful. Oh, yes.
But are you?
Yeah, of course I am. I'm like Kate. No one believes me, but I'm there and I'm hanging on with my nails into that castle. Poor Kate. She's
still here.
She's desperate to leave, isn't she? You're desperate for her to go. She's desperate to go.
Although I did have a slight change of pace on this episode with her, slightly.
Oh.
Which was shocked.
Your opinion has changed? Positive, negative?
Well, I feel... I'm trying to get in the mind of Kate, you see.
No one wants to get in the mind of Kate.
It's a haze of wine and champagne.
Yeah.
I feel that in her mind, everyone's blaming her to be a traitor all the time. She's not, and she's fed up, and she just thinks everyone playing the game is just stupid and below her, and that's why she's so annoyed. Because she's telling them, I'm not a traitor, and she's saying, you're a traitor, but she's wrong though, so that what makes it a bit delusional.
Well, she never used to be wrong, but now
and I think she's just sort of given up because she just can't be bothered, because she knows she's not going to win and they're going to vote her out probably at the last second. Just so she has to be punished to do all episodes and all challenges.
She's being held against her will.
Yes, she is, and so I did feel that. And when I saw her and Shelby talking on their own, and there was little clicks, and like Shelby was talking to her feeling that same way, I was like, oh, okay, that's like that's probably what Kate does feel. She feels like she's not in a clique and she's not liked, but she's too stubborn to say it the way that Shelby said it. So because I felt sorry for Shelby for being in that situation, I thought, oh, Kate must be in that situation, so maybe I should feel something for
you
her.
Mirrored that feeling for Shelby.
But Shelby just put it across better, I feel, than Kate did. Kate's not put it across very well. She's masking.
She's lost her. But the thing is, though, she lost her best friend quite early on.
Yes,
Brandy,
very early,
and she hasn't tried to introduce herself to any other friendship group. But the funny thing is that actually everyone seems to be. It seems to be, apart from Shelby and Kate, everyone seems to get along quite well with one another now.
Although it was a bit weird that
tricky.
Shelby said, like, I'm not in a clique, but in the last episode I thought her, Quentin and Suri were like a little group, so that was a bit odd.
But then she felt a little bit outside because she was the only one who voted for Rachel with Kate and Cody. So she kind of put herself in a bit of a tricky situation there as well. And maybe she felt a bit like that the group had betrayed her, that everyone seemed to be given the indication. Because to be fair, the vote right at the top of the show was the conclusion. That was the first thing, the conclusion of the last episode.
They got their first traitor.
They got their first traitor. They got Cody, but it felt like nothing was indicating that that's the way the group were heading. And then all of a sudden, they all voted Cody.
Yeah, it wasn't around. I think with the US series, they do a lot of their deciding before the round table. I think there must have been lots of conversations about maybe Cody, and then in the round table, it was all about Kate and Rachel, and then all at the end, they voted Cody. It was a bit like
they weren't shown on the screen, because I think also for the tension. Because it seems to be edited for adverts as well. Do you know, like during the episode, like breakfast table was the most obvious one. Before the last person comes through the door and you find out who's got murdered.
Yeah, it's
they
like
kind
on
of show like a
face for
30-second shot of them all their reaction faces. And then there's a zoom up on the door, and then it goes, and then the music stops, and then it seems to then do the reaction shot again. So it's as if they've cut from a commercial and they've gone back from it.
We don't have commercials over here in Britain.
We do on the BBC. We don't on the BBC. But on ITV and Channel 4, we certainly do, and on any satellite channel.
So the BBC have bought the Traitors US, and there's no adverts for us.
Well, don't forget it's on Peacock in America. Isn't Peacock a streaming service? So I thought there'd be
maybe
no
it was made to not be on streaming, and it got put on there.
Or they're showing it on both, because again, that's what the BBC do. They air it on BBC One, and then they air then they keep the repeat on BBC
I'll
iPlayer.
step away from my computer a little bit because the fan has started up.
Wow, the computer's getting excited as well. The
computer from the BBC. Talk about the BBC and my computer fan gets up.
I thought you said it's from the BBC. It's archaic in its design. No, no offense to BBC. So I don't know. I don't know what the structure is with Peacock as a streaming service, because don't some streaming services in America you can
a free version? Yes,
have a free version,
probably.
So perhaps it does go to an ad break. But anyway, either way.
Cody got voted off.
Cody got voted off, yes. Let's not talk about
with an advert or not.
Yes, exactly. With or without an advert. Maybe he's doing adverts right now.
I hope so.
What do you reckon he'd advertise?
Poor Cody.
Some kind of sporting...
sports gear, probably. Athletic gear or something. I don't know.
A cup.
I feel I didn't really get to know Cody very much, even though he was a traitor, which normally when you're a traitor, you take up a lot of the show usually. I don't feel I really saw much of him.
I was really surprised by how little Cody we had on screen and how much we kind of learnt from him. And he just felt like a different
really
character from what we were meant to see. Yeah.
So a bit strange, a bit odd. But
and this is the first roundtable, also the first banishment, which actually felt genuinely emotional in the group.
Yes,
I think the group
the
genuinely,
bonds are,
the bonds
apart
are there.
From Kate.
Of course,
she's severed all bonds.
Kate don't give two hoots. But
and this was also the first time where you said you wanted people to watch how people react when someone goes up,
and they did.
Ari watched Shelby, and then Shelby's voted off.
There you go.
So, and it was incorrect.
They were wrong, but there you go.
So, what's your theory now? That was the first time that happened, and it wasn't.
It was
correct.
Shelby was an exception to the rule, a very big exception, but an exception to the rule. But then also, I think that Shelby kind of had given up. Don't you think?
Yes, well, we had the big reveal, didn't we? Her character arc was finished.
She finally bloody mentioned it.
Yeah. So episode 1, she said, faking my job. Mm-hmm. Then nothing. Mm-hmm. Episode 7.
Yep.
By the way, I faked my job.
Yeah.
And then but
everyone seemed genuinely shocked by it. And it's like, so again, is this something that was never shown on screen?
Maybe.
Never shown on screen. So perhaps she had mentioned it amongst the group, but we were never privy to it. So we never saw it.
Well, the editors need to remember their story arc.
She's a PR for the government.
Millionaires, all sorts, everyone.
But you'd think that perhaps Quentin would have been in those circles. He would have known her.
He has a podcast about
the government
stuff, doesn't he?
Well, political stuff, yeah.
But you're not going to know every office worker, are you?
Well, yeah, but you probably know.
Quentin makes
especially
me laugh.
PR, public relations.
Oh, yeah.
So they'd be working with
She can't
podcasts.
be that high up, though, because she wouldn't be allowed to be on the Traitors if she was like
Shelby
FBI.
might be FBI. The PR
You know
it's not
mean?
FBI.
I know.
CIA.
But you know what I mean? Like she
CSI
couldn't be
Miami.
that high up, like Biden's office or whatever. Quentin makes me laugh about how he's so confident all the time, but he's always wrong.
Always wrong, yeah.
And he's really like delves into people's minds and the way minds work and how theory and people think. But every time he's not been right once yet, which is just...
Well, he wanted to vote Shelby because he wanted to see how Kate will react. And Kate's reaction was that she made everyone feel guilty for voting Shelby.
Yeah, how dare you vote for a single mother? I'd never forgive myself. She kept rubbing that in, didn't she, around the fire pit?
Well, let's never forget that, like, in episode 2 or 3, she was like, I don't feel guilty at all. It's the game. And now, because she's now the shoes on the other foot and she's the outsider looking in and not within the clique, now all of a sudden she's like, everyone should feel guilty for what they're doing. She wanted to take a hit for the team. Well, not for the team. She wanted to take it for Shelby.
They just ignored her.
They did. They're just keeping her in.
You might as well keep her in because she's not going to win. You can just vote her out. Like I said, I bet they'll vote her out on the last second as like her punishment for not helping with the missions.
Well, as I said to you,
and just keep her because everyone knows she's probably not a traitor.
Not a traitor.
Because the way she's acting is just weird.
Exactly. That's what I said. It's like they know she's not a traitor. They believe her. They don't think she's a traitor. To be fair, it's a shame Kate isn't a traitor. Because if she was a traitor from the start, if she was a traitor from the start, she would have been playing a blinder of a game right now. Can we actually bring up, because in the last episode I said how Christian is playing a really interesting game and Surrey seems to be riding on the coattails, in my opinion, of how Christian's playing the game. And then when it got to the round table, Surrey was the first one to vote for Cody. This is the first round table at the top of the show.
Yep.
And then obviously it went round, and then it was Christian voted the same way. So, but no one really paid any attention to both Christian and Suri kind of voting for him, everyone kind of put the crown on outing Cody on Stephanie. So Stephanie seems to have got a bit more of a...
I think she must have been the one who had the conversations before the round table about it. I do quite like Stephanie, although I was worried that she was going to be banished at the end of this episode, but it doesn't look like they're doing... No, not banished, murdered, but it doesn't look like they're doing a murder.
Well, that's the twist at the end, isn't it?
Yeah. So, but I quite like Stephanie, but I do feel that she's now on shaky ground because she's like sort of threw Suri under the bus this week, didn't she? Even though they're meant to be like...
Well, Suri's forgiven her though. Suri said that like, oh, okay, what she did wasn't right, but
she hasn't forgiven her.
I still trust her. When she says, do I trust her? I trust her. Yes, do I trust her? I mean, if anyone's got the clout to get rid of Stephanie, it's gonna be Suri, isn't it? Suri's going to be the one who's going to be able to manipulate that. So this whole alliance thing has gone right out the window.
That's what I mean. I don't know why Stephanie did that. It was really silly. I don't know why she said that.
I know, it seemed a bit odd for her because she said that that Suri wanted to be a traitor, but when she found out she wasn't,
she was disappointed.
Maybe she said it. Maybe it's similar to when Alex in the British series kind of said, "And she's my girlfriend," because kind of tried to do it in a way of kind of like get people on Suri's side. Alex. Sorry, Tom. Beg pardon. When Tom said it, and maybe Steph thought that would get people on Suri's side, but actually it made people suspect Suri instead. But then Andy came out at the round table, and they said that Stephanie had said that. Oh, before the round table, sorry. Said that to Suri. They said that to Suri. Suri then brought it out at the round table and said, Stephanie, she didn't directly name the person. She just said, if anyone's got a problem with me or has any suspicions, you come see me.
Come see me around the back.
Come see me. Where the peacocks lie. Come find me with knuckle dusters. I'll sort you out, lads. Don't you worry. So it's strange. Yeah. I mean, this is how the game starts to go, isn't it? Everyone starts going a little bit crazy, a little bit loopy. Suspicion starts getting thrown
because they've got one traitor and it didn't really make... They're now trying to link back to Cody somehow. Christian's name cropped up for like a split second, but apart from that, he still seems to be
under that radar.
In the clear.
He's a good player. I'm telling you.
We had a new mission for us as well. It wasn't a carbon copy for the UK one. This is a new mission.
The poltergeist room.
Yeah, the haunted room, haunted by Brandy. I think it was haunted by Reza.
Reza haunted. He's like, why did you kill me?
My best friend.
They must have got them to record those bits specifically because I don't remember seeing that unless again it was out the edit. But yeah, so I guess what they did was when they turned the lights off, when they swapped the items around, because it was basically a very over the top version of Spot the Difference. They went into a room
3D,
yes, without the Oculus. They went into a room. So just thought something else. And they had to spot 3 items that had been swapped or changed in the room. But when they turned the lights off, they started piping in sounds of like the murdered players saying like, "Why did you kill me?"
Yeah. And Brandy was just like, "You're my best friend." I was like, okay.
And then they did the talk. Then they did the piece to camera with Kate when she was being interviewed by the producer, and she went, "I really felt like Brandy was in the room with me, helping me and telling me to just carry on." Go, Kate.
No, they didn't do good on this mission. There was like
they did
a lot of money. Was it 15,000 they could have got if they got all of them?
£30,000. 10,000 if they found all 3 in each team. £30,000 and they won 2. That was a really poor performance.
It was really bad.
Really,
it was a tough game, I guess, but. Yeah, Kate was.
I don't really know what their tactics were. Each of them, like the first team had a different section, but unfortunately they had Kate on their team who didn't give a shit.
She just picked up a picture of Brandy and said, "This was it."
This is it. Yeah. She talked
Although
to me.
Stephanie was all cocky, being like, "You're not taking it seriously." I've checked my area, and then her area was also wrong.
Had a green vase.
Yes.
And then in the second team, they kind of just walked around the room, and just kind of went, "Oh, there's that." And then the third team, which was all the lads, went
in a.
They almost held hands together and kind of walked together side by side, shuffling, going, right, there's that. But no, none of the tactics were particularly very good. No, but the winning team also, whoever spotted the most or was able to identify them and lock down their answers. I hate that term, lockdown. Lock down your answers. It's ever since Who Wants to Be a Millionaire that caused like I'm going to lock in my answer. Now every game show they have to lock in their answer in order to give an answer.
Good.
Why can't you just say I've put it on the table? I put it in front of you,
You have to
Alan.
be
Now tell me if
sure.
I'm right.
Because it makes you double guess yourself. That's why.
I'm surprised. I thought that how the producers could have made this game a little bit better and a little bit easier. That's right, Sheila Lambert. I'm telling you how to do your jobs now. Is what they could have done is, have you ever played that game Mastermind when you have the coloured pegs and you have to say which ones are in the right place? You've got the right colour but in the wrong place, that kind of thing. What they could have done is they could have said, right, we're going to listen to the poltergeist and say how many items you got right. Knock 1, for argument's sake. Then Alan Cummings could have said, right, I'm not going to tell you which one was the right, but you can choose to swap any of them one more time. You've got 30 seconds to walk around the room, and then we'll try again. And that would have given them an opportunity maybe to rethink themselves. Because after the knock, a lot of them basically said, oh, it's that one, isn't it? And every time it was, yes, it was that one. So then they could have maybe second guessed what the second one was. Maybe given them an opportunity.
Plus, it was a very low money for just one. It was like just
That's
$1,000.
what I'm saying. $2,000, $2,000 for the case of getting 30. It just seems like not for me.
No. And but the winner team was the lads who went around holding hands in anti-clockwise
Quentin,
circle.
Harry, and Christian.
Yes, and they got to go to the armory once more.
Yes, so they're using that again with a shield.
But no, it was Harry again, wasn't it? Old Lucky.
Oh no, Lucky Harry.
That's twice now. Didn't need it the first time. Don't think he really needs it this time.
He's really under the radar. I mean, his name gets thrown out every now and then when people kind of suspect him of being almost... And whenever someone gets suspicious of someone and it gets mentioned on the round table, Harry's always the one who kind of says, well, it could be them, but I think it's them. And then normally the conversation gets steered into his direction. And a lot of people have spotted that in previous episodes, but it's not being brought up quite so much anymore. I think he's taken a step back a little bit, still kind of throws his 2 pence in every now and then, but doesn't really...
Do you think he would be a good one for them to pick as a traitor then? If he's quite under the radar.
Oh, we're going in, are we? Well, because we haven't finished what the second round table is yet. So we got.
We know Shelby's gone.
Okay, Shelby.
Well, Kate voted for herself on her thing for some reason.
Oh yeah, Kate voted for herself and then
rubbed it out because the producer was like, "You're not allowed to do that." oh, darn. And then wrote Rachel. She said, "Just Rachel, just because."
Just because,
basically. But she wanted everyone to vote for her.
Yeah.
She didn't plead that enough. I don't think she didn't plead enough for people to vote for her, but she voted for herself. Off camera, which we assume, and then Shelby ended up going and making everyone feel guilty and sad about what they did.
She doesn't work as a kindergarten teacher.
She's just a single mum.
She's a PR. No, PR. Just a single mum. What's that? Single mum who's got 2 jobs.
Yes. I'm a survivor.
That's Shelby.
Yes. That's her. So she went. That's all very sad. Kate is now on her own.
On that, by the way, no. Come get us. Go on, I dare you.
And then the traitors then had the option, another knock at the door, another one from Alan.
Alan Kane coming.
Working overtime, isn't he? And they have to recruit a traitor. And when the traitor gets the letter, they can decide whether to accept or not, don't they? So that's how it was sort of left on the end.
So who should they... Well, you're saying Harry. Harry should be brought in to the mix.
Well, I'm wondering, because he's like not really under suspicion. I would say Andy, Harry, or Quentin are the 3 that haven't really been suspected as traitors, so maybe they would be the safest ones to bring in.
Quentin, I think, would refuse it. I think Quentin would say no. Because I think that's the way he likes to play. I think he likes playing as...
Yeah, it's really tough when you're this far in. It's really tough to... If you got the offer to be a traitor...
You have to play...
You have to then sort of switch your game, but not be noticed that you've switched your game.
Yeah, and that's a tricky switch to make. It's hard enough being it from the start, then having to be it halfway through. That's a tricky... Like you said, that's a tricky switch to make.
I 100% would not choose Kate.
See, this is the funny thing. I think
she couldn't be trusted. If she's writing her own name on her chalkboard, she would just get up and just randomly tell everyone who the traitors are, and like,
you're not allowed to in the game.
Yeah, but exactly. She'd be like, if you're holding me hostage, you're not letting me leave, I'm just going to ruin the game then, and then it will end. So I think the producers are probably like, could you not pick Kate, please? Because we don't know what she'll do.
Yeah, in a funny way, I wouldn't mind Kate kind of like getting put into as a traitor.
It'd be too dangerous because anything happens, she would just tell everyone who the traitors are. That's too worrying.
That's true. She'll kind of indicate
for production and for the contestants, I feel.
I think Andy...
Fear for our safety.
Andy, I think they're too innocent. I don't think Andy would be a very good traitor.
Yeah, they might break under pressure, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think they could do it, really. I just don't think they could.
So I think Stephanie's far too... she's too much of a I'm a faithful to accept. I don't think she would.
No, she wouldn't accept if it was offered. I think Rachel would accept.
Yeah,
if
Rachel
it was offered,
would.
But I don't think she'd be very good. She's kind of... The thing is, I think
she's
that
a
Katie...
bit under suspicion.
But also, I think Katie and Rachel clash often because they're more similar than they like to admit.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I think they're more similar than they'd like to admit, personally. Okay. They both have clothes that Princess Diana would, no pun intended,
would go on a date with Sherlock Holmes on.
Aye. So I think the best one would be
There's
Harry.
not many left to pick through, is there?
Harry. I agree with you. I think Harry's going to be the best choice. And I think Harry would consider it.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, at the moment, there's not many left. There's 9 left, isn't there?
4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 left.
Yeah, so there's not many to choose from. I would say Rachel or Harry would be the best.
No, I think Rachel would be the worst. Not the worst, but wouldn't be good. I think Rachel...
I think she would.
No, I don't. I think Rachel would be... She'd put her foot in it left, right and centre.
Yeah, but it might help though because Kate's been gunning for her the whole time. So she's kind of proven that Kate's just talking rubbish, and then people wouldn't suspect her being a traitor, maybe.
But also, if I think that if they put Rachel in, then they would need to then get rid of Kate, and Kate's just such an easy one to just keep. You know what I mean? Kate's an easy target
just to torture her.
Well, not just that. It's like if all else fails, we'll get Kate out. You know what I mean? So Kate's
Quentin,
a good one.
was it last episode? Quentin said maybe we should get rid of Kate now because the missions are going to only get harder, and her not being very good is more dangerous for the prize.
A couple
pot.
of people said that. They said that she's not very good for the prize pot, which again she proved again on this episode because she didn't. She didn't bother.
It was a very low effort mission, and she still didn't bother.
Yeah, she didn't really do need to.
Because she was like, anyway. I'm actually very good at this game, but I can't be bothered.
I don't want to. Yeah, I think she actually knew. I think when Steph said that she thought there was nothing changed, I think she knew the vase had changed.
Well, she just didn't bother saying.
She didn't bother saying.
Do you think? Or she thinks she's good at spot the difference, but she's not.
No, I got an impression that Kate
was just being petty.
That there was, and she's being petty.
She is very petty. I think she's like one of the pettiest people I've ever seen on TV.
One of the
so far.
One of the most pettiest celebrities so far.
Well known. Moderately known people that
you haven't
I've
used your
met.
soundboard today. You went mental earlier with your soundboard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying. We're mentioning Kate left, right, and centre. Normally, you've got I'm bit.
Asshole.
There you go.
I love judging people.
Okay.
There you go. Thank you. You've relieved
That's the ghosts.
Oh my goodness! That tension that was in my stomach, the knots that I was feeling because you hadn't played it yet. No, thank goodness for that. So yeah. So do they? So they don't have a choice. So they don't have a choice of murdering. They have to enroll someone. They
have to enroll, but the person can decline
it because in the British version, if they declined, they were told that they had to leave the show.
The second time it happened.
The second time it happened.
The first time it happened, they didn't.
Okay. Because they haven't even been. Oh my goodness! There's also that thing where they might get given the choice to leave the show. They get given. It was what £2,000.
Oh yeah, £3,000.
£3,000 to leave the show, and she turned it down. I wonder if they'll do that with Kate. Kate. Because they had to say, each one had to say who they trusted the most in the group.
Oh, yeah.
And the one, Maddie, was the one who no one trusted around that dinner table.
That's true.
And so Maddie had the option.
I think Kate would just take it.
But that's it. So Kate would be probably the least trusted one. So they'd probably say, you can take the American version, $10,000. You can take $10,000 to leave the game right now. I mean, if Kate said no and she wanted to stay in the game, then that makes her look more of a liar than before because she's been going on and on and on about wanting to leave. And now she might stay.
No, I think she would take the money and run for sure. Someone tweeted us just before we end up that our theory on the production team orchestrating the show a bit with the bit of paper and stuff like that.
You're hooked on this piece of paper.
No, this is a different one. So this person suspects that the shield boxes are also fixed and that they're all empty until the person at the production team wants to win comes into the room and they put it in there.
Well, you said about the shield boxes that the one with the shield in has a light box in it, while the other ones don't. So if anyone walks in and they see that the one of the
a glowing box is empty,
they know that it's already been taken.
Yeah, but it's always the last person.
Ari. But then that also could lead then to the production crew wanting Ari to be the traitor? Is there manipulation within the production? That's
There's always a bit of manipulation.
Well, no, but that's normally with the edit. It's never normally with the actual show.
Exactly. So
the edit is the manipulation to the
I
viewer.
don't trust these American producers.
But it's the same studio,
No,
though.
don't trust
I suppose Peacock or NBC Universal will probably be there in the background kind of going, right. If that sounds all straight. That sounds like Rupert Murdoch.
God.
Right, I'm going to do it in my accent. Right, you sort that out and get that done. Because there's always, like on sitcoms, remember, have you ever seen like behind the scenes of like a sitcom? There's always like a man from the studio who comes down onto the floor and kind of says, right, we don't like that on the episode. You need to cut that out right now. So I'm sure when the edit was happening, there was a few people from the studio kind of going, right, we don't want Shelby's fake career being shown on screen. We want it completely banished from the episode right now.
Poor Shelby.
It makes a mockery of the whole PR system. How dare she? How dare she even?
I do find it a bit odd how it's more moderately well-known people left now than civilians.
Yes, your tin hat is getting popped
We've got
on again.
Quentin, Andy, and Christian. That's it. All the rest.
But there's 8 left, and there's 3 who are not. So it's not a majority. Well, it is a majority, but only a small one.
It's been a majority throughout since the first murder. They're always killing off the civilians, the poor civilians. Poor Angelica, Azra, Geraldine, Amanda for unknown reasons.
Bam.
Michael, Bam. See? It's not fair. I think Reza was meant to be.
Reza was the first murder, and he was out in the first go.
So I think it's very unfair. Actually.
Ryan, may he rest in peace.
He's not a civilian.
That's what I'm saying. He's a celebrity, and he went.
Yes.
Oh well. Well, I think that people need to get in touch with us because we're getting near to the end now, and hopefully people are listening to the podcast before they move on to the next episode, like the way we record it. So we've not seen episode 8 yet. So I think that's what we're gonna.
No, we've had a tweet telling us that they can't wait for us to hurry up and get to the final because it's amazing,
exciting. But so people who are kind of watching or listening to the podcast along with watching it as they go along. So watching episode 7, listening to 7 podcasts and so on. Do get in touch with us.
It's like a 3D experience.
It really is 4D. We're going to throw water in your face while you're watching it. Get in touch with us on Twitter at Traitors Podcast or faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. If you're listening to us on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or any of your favorite podcast apps, you can also give us a 5-star rating if you're enjoying listening to our ramblings over such a monumental moment, which
leave
is
us a review and say
US
if you're
version.
a faithful or a traitor.
Oh yeah, don't forget to give us a written review.
But it has to be 5 stars.
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't count.
Or else we banish you.
Otherwise the prize pot will go down.
Or we'll murder you from our turret. But yeah, and tell your friends as well. Tell your friends, you know what? You know that show we enjoy watching, The Traitors? Why don't you listen to the podcast as well? Because it's really interesting and insightful.
Yep. And
it's full of depth.
High production values.
It's about as deep as the children's pool at the leisure centre. So, come find us.
There you go. So we'll be back very soon to see if we have another traitor in our midst. So there you go. So you've been listening to Faithful to the Traitors.